Hello, welcome to the Sketchbook tour for July of 2021 all the way through till February of 2022. This sketchbook is going to have a lot of free sketching. I've got sketchbooks that are themed, as you might have seen in some of my other videos, but this one is a free sketch. So there's going to be lots of studying and practicing, and then there's also going to be lots of fun, interesting stuff. So if that sounds good to you, if that sounds interesting, please consider liking and subscribing. It would help tremendously. And let's take a look. So the first drawing here comes from a course by Trent Kanigua, along with some other things, working on three-dimensional perspective for the first time. You can see kind of this odd castle thing that's going around. And then my notes. We've got some drawings in here that are focused on character development, because why wouldn't you? And these robot characters and creatures are going to show up throughout a lot of my work. It comes from a story that I'm working on called Amongst the Broken, about these little doll puppet type things that are stuck underneath a frozen Siberia in a weird post-apocalyptic alternate future thing. Because why not? Why not? Weapons, because how could you not draw them? I love things like this, where they're just like these interesting designs and playing with it, playing with the geometry and building a culture based on that. This is based off of something Marshall Vandruff said, going off of a memory drawing. So each day the goal is to draw something that you looked at yesterday and try to reformulate that image in your head. As you can tell, I got really, really far with it. So, yeah. Here's just some random drawings. Again, one of the robots from Amongst the Broken, and then just some random fun stuff to play with. You'll notice the numbers all over the place and sometimes the dates. Sometimes I try to keep track of dates, and often in my past, when I was really cataloging how much time I was working on things, I would write down how much time I spent each day as well. These are character studies again, but working on the perspective and the foreshadowing and how things like that function. These are just fun, along with these, which are actually studying how the human face works. Perspective practice, working on planes and how things change in them. This is a mandrill, because they're cool. More practice, probably from some stuff with drawabox, and then also some character and figural studies. I think these were in-person drawings, probably from students in my class. Barioth from Monster Hunter. And this is funny too. These are just drawings. While I was probably in a meeting at work and supposed to be working on something like, I'm going to draw and practice three-dimensional things, which continued over here with my microns. These are early days. I was obviously doing Inktober back then, but I usually didn't finish it because it's hard. And so these were some of my sketches in preparation for that, and thinking about those concepts and how can I get better at those things. For some reason, ink was always one of the things that I was drawn to most growing up. It felt like one of the first media that I hit in high school that really made sense to me and felt right. These are all from memory, and then the crabs are from reference. More figural stuff. This is kind of fun, feels Elden Ring-ish, but I don't think I was playing Elden Ring at this point yet. Figural studies, 1-minute gesture studies. Continues of 1-minute gestures. Working on how to reduce an owl, and then cube studies. I'm not sure what this is. Little awkward. Robots. This guy reminds me of IG-88 a little bit from Star Wars. And then the owl guy's kind of like, what's going on, yo? I like the tank. 3-point perspective practice. Random drawings. These, I kind of like these. I'm not sure what's going on there. It doesn't seem like that would, hold structure or make a lot of sense. This is a study for a dragon creature that's made out of a whole bunch of refuse underneath Siberia in that same Amongst the Broken story. This is weird because it kind of looks like a dinosaur with a bullet for a head, and the drill guy's fun. Random studies, thinking about creatures and how they're built, how they're put together. That skull is so awkward. Ugh. Dragon, probably needed a reference. Oh, that's funny. That was on the prior page, the weird little mammoth guy. Studies and swords and really awkward fish. This is one of the reasons why it's important to use references. Little pen drawings of swords and stuff. I wish I had a total. I wish there was like... I wish it was like some of those anime where they've got like counters on top of your heads for how many things a person has done. I would love to know how many swords I've drawn in my life. I feel like it has to be thousands because I've spent so many years just wasting away days in beautiful fashion by just sketching tons and tons of swords and daggers and things like that. Perspective study, practice. Just a bunch of random ink practice. This looks like I was starting something almost boba fettish and then continue to spread out across the page. Again, more ink practice. There's some fun stuff on here. I kind of like this guy, though he's a little strange. He's got a rocket launcher and then an arm. Not bad. Creature studies. Thinking about... oh, these are from Nethervoid. These are from my fantasy thing. Trying to figure out a Darvo, which is like a dragon. Kind of more like a giant monitor lizard, and playing around with that. Cool. I like the horns. This is also a spiritual being from Nethervoid, working on how you could have something that's geometric and almost Lovecraftian in a way, where it just doesn't fit our laws of geometry, our laws of physics, and all those kinds of things. And these are the studies for it. This guy actually shows up in some of my Inktober drawings. Dragon and creature studies. Foot and arm and elbow studies. More stuff for Amongst the Broken. This was a long time ago, working out some of the kinks and like how the facial structure needs to function. I was very much at this point in time thinking about it as these are actual robots, so how are all their body pieces and structures and components going to make things function adequately and accurately? Since then, I've kind of come away from that and realized, like, if I do this in cartoon fashion or like graphic novel fashion, it doesn't need to be quite that logical. You can play with things a little bit more. You get stuff a little bit more like this, where there's just eyes, and does it make sense? Are they apertures? Are they lenses? I don't know. As long as it communicates what it needs to, that's fine. This is the main character, Eris. She's missing her arm there. Yep, you can see her more here. Playing around with that, and as is usually the case, I got bored after a little while and started doing other things. Started playing with other character ideas. These are just studies. But I love this guy. He's going to look like a walrus, and then he's going to have a fish inside the fishbowl swimming around. More studies on Eris and her missing arm and how things might be structured. Again, same thing there. I've drawn this character a lot of times. I still haven't quite solidified exactly how I want it to come together. Figural studies. So this is the dragon guy from earlier, but I really like how this one turned out. This one's way more fun and way more in line with what I'm looking for. Although in the finished draft, this is going to be a Volkswagen Bug as his belly, because that'll be fun. I love this guy. He's so awkward. Another guy from Amongst the Broken. A Kraken that's built out of a old Boeing 747. Some studies. First time I got my ink pen. I don't have one down here to show you, but was practicing with it and trying it out. These are actually copied from Trent Kanigua's work in one of his drawing books. He's got a lot of really cool reduced cartoon stylizations that I love. Oh, I like this. This is not from something well, actually, that says Eldest of Light, so that's supposed to be from Nethervoid. I just didn't remember. I love facial structures like this. So intriguing. Lots of studies on noses and how they function. More studies, and then spiders. Face studies. Pretty sure that's a Loish drawing. A lot of these are from reference. I think it's really important to work from reference, especially if, like me, you don't have as much committed to memory as you would like yet. So we get lots and lots of studies. But then, like, this one isn't terrible after doing all those studies. Some of these are from memory. Some of these are from reference. Most are from reference, but the last 2 pages were from memory. Lots of practicing. This is so funny, the walking forward. That seems based off of one of Trent Kanigua's thing again. And then looks like some drawabox is starting to infiltrate. Yeah, same thing here. Working with the brush pen again. It's so awkward. I love how I labeled whoops, and I had a big smudge there. Interesting. I like this though. I love perspective stuff, and that's pretty cool too. There's a lot of random stuff in here. This one's a little bit less study-oriented than a lot of mine. Oh, thumbnails. Very important. Make more thumbnails. Do more thumbnails. I say that it's less study-oriented, and then we get to this. Again, playing with this thing. This thing has taken me a long time. The brush pen has taken me a long time to wrap my head around. These are cool. I think this might have been the time period where I started falling in love with Bic pens because they're just lovely. More referential drawings. Referential drawings with lots of notes trying to break down how do these people do it. What are they doing? How are they doing? Let's break down from Tigrex. Monster Hunter. More reference-based stuff. His eyes are way too high. More reference-based stuff, trying to understand how the human face works, why it does what it does. I like this guy. Starting to get more drawings that kind of poke out, that are intriguing and interesting and feel correct. Lots of thumbnails. Again, thumbnails are really important. Highly recommend you do thumbnails before you do large pieces. And see, the brush pen here is starting to come along and make sense. And then this was just low stress playing. Studies and perspective practice. Got some new colored pencils. I don't know what it is, but it's fascinating to me. I love how it's structured. So ugly and gross. Some more studies and play. Figural studies. Figural studies. Practice with perspective. A metroid. Always good. Figural. Portrait/figural studies. Portrait/figural studies. Sorry about that adjustment. The sun just went down, so I had to readjust some lighting in the room. More figural stuff, working on this body structures and how they're put together. Same thing, studying and looking at how the body is put together. Same thing, then getting bored and doing a weird demon guy. Some studies on dinosaurs. These are from reference. This might not be. There's a little drawing of my daughter. Rathalos, deviljho, and then I think that's just a straight up spinosaurus. Studies. And you'll notice that there's lots of notes on all my work. If you are studying things, I highly recommend notating what you're doing, trying to figure out why things are functioning the way they're functioning. If you want to grow, if you want to keep moving forward, I think that's really beneficial. Nergigante, Diablos, more Monster Hunter stuff. More studies and some practice. More studies and practice. That's kind of cool. I wonder what I copied that from. Portrait studies, practice, Tigrex. I actually ended up doing that guy in something else. One of my first pieces on this channel. Boxhead Samuel. More amongst the broken stuff. And this page is actually a whole bunch of studies for facial structures for the weird little puppet doll guys. This is Frank, I believe. He's wearing a teddy bear. It's not creepy. It's not creepy at all. No, it's fine. Keep moving. Keep moving. I love this. It's like a turtle, but like with a pumpkin head coming out of it. So strange. I used to do a lot of stuff like this when I was younger. Other studies. Again, this is working on things for Amongst the Broken, as is this. And then the rest of it's just me getting bored with things and moving on. Well, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed that sketchbook session. This one was kind of random, a mix of studying and working on Amongst the Broken and some of my other storylines and things like that. But again, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that watching it was fruitful for you, that you got to see how my brain works and hopefully be validated in how your brain works and pulls things apart as well. Sketchbooks are not always a beautiful, refined thing. Sometimes they are just a playground. And you know what? We need more playgrounds. So as always, thank you. Have a good one, y'all. See you soon.